Bold fam, offseason just opened, and we're already looking at the kind of good problem that can backfire fast. A pile of cap space, and decisions that could split Bolt fam down the middle. There's an offensive line situation where the buy-in never felt complete, and it's pointing at something bigger than one player. There's a young weapon who's pricey to treat like a shrug, but also scary to let go. And after what Justin Herbert went through, the QB2 talk isn't some throwaway anymore. This isn't just headlines, it's a warning sign. If you're with me today, hit that like button and let's dive in. You know the type of headline that makes fans celebrate, then immediately side-eye it. That's where we are. I keep seeing the same vibe. The Chargers are about to buy half the league. Free agency is ours. This is the moment. And I get why people feel that way. But there's one detail that flips the whole conversation. And it's why this is exciting and dangerous at the same time. When a team walks into the offseason with real breathing room, everyone starts picturing star players basically showing up with the bags already packed. But the front office isn't playing fantasy football. They're juggling numbers, timing, locker room dynamics, and egos. And if you misplay one move, you don't just lose a player, you burn a chunk of your window with Justin Herbert. So before you start circling big names, pause for a second and look at what's underneath all that cap space. Right now, the Chargers are projected to lead the NFL in available cap space when free agency opens in March. Using over-the-cap's projection, around a $295.5 million salary cap, Los Angeles is sitting near $100.03 million. That number feels like finally, like you can breathe. But here comes the part nobody wants to read twice. More than half the roster has some form of free agency coming. 28 players from the 2025 team could hit the market in some way. UFA, RFA, ERFA. That's not a tweak. That's potential turnover that can change your identity. And the money gets spoken for quicker than people think. A chunk of that cap space already has a home inside the building. Odafe Oweh was a mid-season trade pickup and finished the year looking like a real difference maker. If you want a legit pass rush, you pay for it. Khalil Mack's future is hanging out there too. And we all remember last offseason when retirement was on the table before he decided to come back. Teair Tart probably earned himself a bigger number. And depending on how the market values him, Zion Johnson could be on that internal priority list as well. So yeah, $100 million isn't a blank check. Joe Hortiz showed last offseason he's comfortable taking a patient approach, piecemealing free agency, focusing on re-signings and targeted ads, then leaning on the draft as the foundation. That's the Ravens' blueprint he comes from. But there's a lever that could change the whole feel of March. If a premium center like Tyler Linderbaum hits the market, that's the kind of signing that resets the position's price tag. Pair something like that with keeping your key guys, and you can chew through well over half that $100 million in a hurry. The good part is, the Chargers still have ways to create more flexibility, restructuring Justin Herbert, extending Derwin James, and making a call on a contract like Mekhi Becton's, which is very cuttable. So it comes down to a real fork in the road. Do you go big game hunting in March, or do you protect the core, attack the draft, and build this thing the right way? And while everyone's daydreaming about who's coming in, there's an internal situation that might tell you more about the Chargers' direction than any splash signing ever could. Sometimes the story isn't about who arrives, it's about who never truly looked comfortable being here. When that tension sits on the offensive line, the alarms get louder. Mekhi Becton never seemed thrilled with his situation in Los Angeles. From the start of training camp, when injuries started messing with availability, there was this sense the fit wasn't clean. Over the season, stepping in and out of the lineup, some of his comments landed like frustration, not progress. And for a team that has to protect Justin Herbert like it's priority number one, that stuff matters. Let me say this. Raw talent was never the question with Becton. The size, the power, the traits, you don't teach those. But the NFL is about context. and the context of Greg Roman's offense didn't seem to match what Becton wanted to be doing. Physical demands, tight structure, limited comfort. Whatever the exact mix was, the relationship felt colder as the season went on. When a player starts sounding frustrated in public, it usually means things have already cooled behind closed doors. Here's where it gets strategic for Bolt fam. Becton has 1 year left on his contract, but the Chargers can move on with minimal cap consequences, so they aren't trapped. That turns him into a read on what the new offensive direction is going to look like. Keeping him would signal a reset, betting a new play caller can pull something different out of him. Cutting him or moving on would be the organization admitting the mismatch was structural, not just bad luck. And fans are split, because it's a real argument. Some people say, get him healthy, get him a better system, and he'll be fine. Others are tired of the constant instability and want clear answers already. Honestly, both sides can make a case. But when you zoom out and connect it to that cap space and the plan to reshape the trenches, the Becton decision starts feeling like a domino, not some small footnote. And it ties right back to 2025. Herbert took too many hits, week after week. Pressure, collapse, chaos. The front office knows that can't be the reality again. Every offensive line decision this offseason is basically a vote of confidence in your franchise quarterback's future. Standing still isn't an option, and keeping a player who doesn't sound bought in, that rarely ends smoothly. Now don't settle in, because the next decision isn't about vibes at all. It's about paying real money for belief and deciding how patient you're willing to be. Some choices look simple on paper, then turn into a full-on test of vision in real life. That's where the Chargers are right now, barely a week after that brutal wild-card loss. The season ended, but the questions didn't. And one decision is staring this team in the face that tells you how they view development, patience, and offensive identity. The name in the middle of it is Quentin Johnston. 3 seasons in, the production is solid, but it hasn't exactly shaken the league. And you already know how this debate goes. Do you pay star money for a player who hasn't consistently played like a star yet? The 5th-year option isn't about feelings. It's structural. And Joe Ortiz hinted at the idea. If you look at Johnston without the draft label pressure, he hasn't been a disaster. In a receiver room with Ladd McConkey and a veteran Keenan Allen, Johnston finished 3rd on the team in receiving yards, and he led the Chargers in touchdowns. This past season, he put up 51 catches, 735 yards, and 8 touchdowns in 14 games. That's his best statistical year, and he did it in the fewest games he's played. That matters. Now for the part that tightens everyone up, the price. Over the cap pegs Johnston's 5th-year option at $17,528,000, and that number would hit the 2027 cap. That's WR1-type money. But the twist is right there in the math. Los Angeles is projected to have over $167 million in cap space in 2027, so it's not a decision that handcuffs the franchise financially. And the timing is important. Greg Roman is out, and a new play caller is coming in. That means new route concepts, different timing, and a different way of creating chunk plays and winning on 3rd and long. Johnston might not have been bad. He might have been misused. Quick pause. If the scheme shifts and he finally pops in year 4, what happens to his price tag then? That's why Bolt fam is split. Some fans say a first-round receiver should be dominating by now. Others see a player trending upward who could explode with better usage and chemistry. And I'm gonna level with you. Declining that option now feels like quitting early. Because if the breakout hits next season, you're either paying more later or watching him walk and calling it bad management. And just when you think we can't get more serious, we do. Because the next topic isn't about potential at all. It's about surviving if the worst-case scenario shows up again. This is the part nobody enjoys talking about. Nobody wants to live in the what if, until what if becomes a Sunday problem. After what Justin Herbert took in 2025, Acting like the backup quarterback spot doesn't matter would be irresponsible. The playoff loss still stings, but the lasting image is the hits. Too many, too clean, too constant. Herbert got beat up like a quarterback playing behind a plan that never fully stabilized. Pressure over and over, pockets collapsing, plays dying early. And in a season like that, the QB2 isn't just a depth chart line. It becomes a lifeline. That's why Trey Lance matters more than people want to admit. Let's keep it honest. Lance didn't look good in Week 18. That's true. But if you boil his year down to that one moment, you're missing the bigger picture. In the preseason, he earned the backup job by playing steady football, protecting the ball, executing the basics, keeping the offense functional. Not flashy, but reliable. The kind of guy you could trust to not sink the ship for a couple weeks if you had to. And it's not just fans saying that. Nick Shook at NFL.com wrote the Chargers should do what they can to keep Lance around. The logic is straightforward. With another year of learning, Lance could be better positioned to keep things afloat if Herbert, who took significant punishment in 2025, is forced to miss time next season. Ideally, Rashawn Slater and Joe Alt being healthy lowers the odds of that, but ideally doesn't protect a season. Lance's path explains why this feels different now. He entered the league with massive expectations after the San Francisco 49ers traded up for him. Then the label came fast. Top 5 bust. He went to Dallas. Now he's in Los Angeles. For the first time, he isn't being asked to save a franchise. He's being asked to learn. And that shift matters. Less noise, a cleaner role, and sometimes that's exactly what a player needs. So the real question is simple. Is it worth paying for a competent QB2 when you're already paying a franchise QB? I'd argue yes, because the cost of a decent backup is nothing compared to the cost of watching an entire season collapse because you didn't have a real plan B. So when you stack everything we talked about today, you can feel the weight of these choices. Having money doesn't guarantee you spend it right. Cutting ties might be necessary. Betting on development takes guts. And protecting Herbert has to be the top priority. This offseason is going to show whether the Chargers actually learned from 2025, or if they're about to repeat expensive mistakes. The foundation is there. The talent is there. But the direction comes down to cold decisions in hot moments. Now I want your take. Do you go all in right now, or do you build with patience? Drop a like, subscribe, and meet me in the comments, Bolt fam.